This is going to be an interactive type of thing, so please do interact with us. I will try my best to get the message across when we want you to interact, but feel free to be on video, feel free to raise your hand, and most definitely put some stuff in the chat. So we know that I learn a little bit better when I'm asked to, answer something or digest something. So want to make sure that we can go through this together and learn. So today we're going to talk about the bright side of leadership. This is 5 coaching tips to level up your leadership. And I came up with this idea, not on my own, but I came up with this idea for this leadership class when I was talking with my coach, because I have a coach and have had a coach for many, many years. And I was like, oh, how can I bring my coach into one of these workshops? What message could I do? How could I bring her in? She's so awesome. I just love her. And so I thought, well, I've learned so much from her. Let me see if I could just make a list of all the quick tips that I've received and just give you guys like the top 5. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the top 5 tips that I've heard from my coach, and she's here today, so this is so cool. I will introduce her in 1 second. But we're gonna go through those tips so you can learn, and you can kind of see. If you've been working with me for a while, you'll know that, hey, we do these kind of things, but it's also awesome to see see what we've learned over time. It's good to do a little reflection there as well. So I'm Denise Lintz, and I'm happy to see all of you here. Thanks for joining. My quote for today is, be brave, speak up. I need that to do that each and every day. I'm naturally an introvert, although many people now will tell me they could never see it anymore. But I, only child, used to playing by myself, getting everything I want, never had to play on a team. I was somebody who was very, very introverted. And so I have to tell myself, be brave, speak up, and say something. Because, when I grew up, I didn't have to. I was the only child. I just did whatever I wanted. So to me, that's been my motto, and it's really helped me. It's helped me through my life. It's helped me through my career. And so I want to share that with you. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to talk about those 5 tips I talked about. We're going to do a use case. So the use cases let us digest those tips that we just received and say, how do we use it for something? And the reality of it is we want you to use it when you're working through a situation. You might be working through something. Hey, how can I apply what I've just learned? And then you're going to have a playbook take home. I will send that to you after class, and it'll be all the information you just received today. So you can take notes. That's all okay, but you will receive all this information. And I think just knowing that will help you pay attention and stay interactive with the class. Okay, well, without further ado, I would like to introduce Rosanne Callens. She has been my coach. Oh man, Rosanne, I don't even know how many years. It's been a lot of years, maybe like 4 or 5. I don't know. I don't want to add up wrong, but it's been for a long time. And I first met Rosanne. Can I tell this story real quick before I finish introducing you? I first met her and I was looking for a coach. One of my coaches was not available anymore, and I needed a new coach. And so I found Rosanne, and I just loved her energy. She then proceeded to tell me she couldn't be my coach and that she would recommend me to other people. And so I think that I always remember that, because you got to earn your coach too, and you got to make sure you get there. I was like, okay, now I want her a little bit more just because that happened. But without further ado, I do want to introduce Rosanne Callens. She's my existing coach, and I just love her. Rosanne.
Thanks, Denise. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. That's a funny story to retell.
You did it.
It was a long time ago, and I did love Denise's energy. And at the time, I just felt that the stars probably weren't aligned. But then Denise convinced me, and I was like, yes, let's do it. And we haven't looked back since. So it's been really great. So thanks for letting me be here, and I'll pop in occasionally with some thoughts too. Thank you.
Yeah, you're gonna pop in.
And then my quote: start now, get perfect later. I'd love to get into analysis paralysis myself. I love to think about things and want something to be a little bit better. So now, done is better than perfect. Start now, get perfect later.
Yeah, and that's helpful because, man, I always want to make everything perfect. These slides, I can work on them for ages and make them perfect, but they never will be. I just have to let it go and let it go on. So thank you for that. Now, just to finish that story really quick, the reason that Rosanne said she didn't want to be my coach is because she was more of a career coach at the time. And I needed somebody to help me more day in, day out, like be on retainer, so to speak, and just be available for me as I needed. And so she's like, I don't really do that. But maybe she changed her mind or she changed her whole business model. Who knows? But it worked out because she came around. And I had interviewed quite a few coaches and I really wanted the best one for me. And so I'm glad she changed her mind. Okay. Well, let's get into the topic for today. We want to level up your leadership. So start being ready to type because we're going to ask you some questions or go off mute. We want to hear your responses. But before we do that, let me tell you what we're talking about today. Everybody is a leader. You're a leader on everything that you do. You are a leader when you have a project. You're a leader when you are trying to finish a task. Where you're a leader when you have to work with different people through everything that you do with your job, with your family. Everybody's a leader. And so we could all use a little bit of fine tuning in our leadership. Maybe just to think about a different point of view, a different expertise, something that maybe just a different angle. And so I always like to think about leadership as I'm always growing, I'm always building, I'm always doing something more. And so that's really what we're talking about today. That is really the situation. And sometimes things come up, and that's why I always put a dark cloud, because sometimes things are not always so positive. Sometimes we have a situation we can't get through. And so we need our friends, our peers, our mentors, and our coaches to help us through that. And so before we get too far, I do want you to put something in the chat, and it's just put a one in the chat if you have had something where you've gotten stuck. Think about a work situation. You got stuck. You couldn't get to that next step. You were thinking all night. You couldn't sleep because you were worried about something, or you just really were stuck on what you could do, and you were thinking of ideas, but they weren't like ones you liked, and you were feeling stuck. So put a one in the chat. If you feel like it, tell us what that was, and let us know what your one thing was where you got stuck. I will leave it a second. Rosanne, do you want to go or let me know or tell me how you want to do this?
No, this is really good. I see a lot of ones in the chat, and if someone even wants to raise their hand and maybe share of a time that you've got stuck, feel free to do that because we want you to get as much out of this as we are getting out of this by having you. And then Kim said one, and her coach Denise helped. Way to go!
Yeah.
Found a one more than once with the smiley face. Would anyone care to share? Or if not, maybe we'll warm up and we'll share a little bit later.
Warm up, yeah. Sometimes I've gotten stuck because there's just the pressure that's on. It's not that I don't know the answer. Sometimes you don't have enough time, but you always have each other, and that's what I love about always working with other people and working through this. So good. Well, I would put a one in the chat for sure if I could get or find the chat. Okay, I'm going to move on. So let's get into the 5 tips. Again, our plan today is to go through these 5 tips, and then we're going to go through a use case, and then after that, you will have learned some great things. The first one, and many folks that have worked with me know this, be brave. It's something that I needed in my life to give me the courage to do things, to model the confidence that you need before you do something. And it's not that I didn't have confidence. Rosanne will be the first to tell me that I always had confidence. I just had to get it out into the world. I had to project it. I'm very confident when I'm doing. I'm very confident when I go do something. I know what I want and I go right to it. And I think sometimes there were some things in the world where people would say, fake it till you make it. And I really, really did not believe in that. I wanted to, but I'm not a fake it kind of person. If I'm feeling sad, I feel sad. If I'm having trouble with something, I'm going to tell you about it. And so the fake it till you make it concept, while I probably tried it a couple times, it didn't work for me. But be brave really did. It just gave me that boost I needed to get through something. So Rosanne, I'll pause a second. I'll let you insert some things here that you want to add.
I really like it. I really like that Denise said you don't have to fake it till you make it. It's not authentic, which is one of Denise's core values, is being very authentic. And so for you listening, here on this workshop, right? What is authentic to you? So when we are giving you these tips, we also want you to step into what feels the best for you. Sometimes I give my clients an example thing they could say or step into, but then I say, I want you to make it your own so you feel comfortable with it, right? Sometimes it helps to have someone give you that nudge that you need.
Yeah. Be brave, get it done. I know I used it with my team and I saw some fantastic things come my way. I always reminded folks, like, you didn't need to use the brave on me. Go use the brave in the world. But sometimes he used it on me and it was so fantastic. Like, I see it happening right now. But, we have some notes on here. Your team does mirror your beliefs. Your words do matter. So be very careful with that bravery. One of the things I also talk about is when you're in a meeting and you're invited to this meeting and you go, okay, I just went to a whole meeting and I didn't get to talk or I didn't talk. You weren't invited to that meeting not to talk, just so you know. Every meeting you were invited to have a voice and make it known in that meeting. So it's your time to do that. Sometimes people just feel like, oh, they didn't really need me to talk. I'll just sit and listen. No, you need to say something. Be brave. This is your call to action. In that next meeting, I want you to be brave and to say something. It could be, a brainstorming session. It could be a project planning meeting. It could be anything. It could be a volunteer event. Say something. Have your voice heard. Be brave. Jump in. So my call to action for you is be ready for that. Don't just show up to the meeting and go, oh, well, I didn't get a chance. No, think about that meeting before you show up. Even coming to meetings like this, you're coming to a meeting, we want you to join us and have conversation with us. Prepare for it. Think about it. It really does help. So next thing in the chat, I want you to think about what will you prepare for. So we're going to ask you to put a little note in the chat. Tell us what you're going to prepare for. Is it the next meeting you have at 9:00? Is it a big interview that you have coming up? Is it, meeting with some friends and you just want to, get something across to them that you didn't get to tell them before? Let us know.
So we see interviewing, my in-person interview next week, an upcoming meeting at noon, an interview at noon. I'm guessing that's today, Sandy. And then preparing for an interview. A lot of people preparing for interviews. Can I just say one thing too, Denise?
Yeah.
I can't help it because my career coaching background too. But one nice thing when we're talking about being brave and modeling confidence is just number one, smiling, right? And also, if you're an in-person interview, if you are I love how Denise has your team mirrors your belief and words matter. Well, also your body matters, right? If you look at how people are positioned in these meetings and you're mirroring people's gestures and everything too, it's actually very powerful likability little tip for you.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and don't look off to the side, look at the camera.
And then one more. Prepare for not only absorbing information, but providing feedback and speaking during meetings. Prepare not only for absorbing information, but also providing feedback and speaking during meetings. Thanks, Justin. That was a nice add too. All of you, thank you.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you.
Denise, Rosanne brought that up because my serious case of RBF that she saw at the beginning.
No.
It's all good.
Hey, I've been called out for that my whole life, but Denise is helping me. She is like, I'll get there. But it's funny because I haven't been on camera in quite some time, so I have to remember, change the face. But I'm laughing that you said that because I noticed I was doing it at the beginning, and I'm like, gotta change that. People can see you.
Yeah, a smile goes a long way. A smile goes a long way, and it's great that
It does. It absolutely does.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you sharing. Okay, next tip is to lead with integrity. And this one, that's just in my heart. I like to be honest. I like to be true. And so I want to share with you how I think about it and how we talk about it. This is some of the coaching, again, I received from Rosanne. And many of us come from, a SOX control background. I know Rosanne comes from more of a government background. There's a lot that goes into that, and that integrity really matters. And so it's a little interesting to have, trusting, but you got to check people's work. And so that's why I would say lead with integrity, trust but verify. if you have a team or you're working with folks, check each other, help each other out, look at their work. I know my social media person was looking at my TikToks and went, hey, I was looking at this and I noticed something. That's great. I appreciate that you checked my work. It's something that I know, you're looking out for me. I'm looking out for you. And we can verify everything and make sure that things are just as they should be. So inspect the world around you. It's worth that time. We don't talk about this enough. We talk about trust and just trust. Well, don't blindly trust. I don't believe in that. I really don't. Trust, but verify. Make sure that you have what you need. Another area that this aligns with where I met Rosanne was even in the coaching. You can coach, but don't correct. So even as you're trusting, but verify, coach, say, hey, how could you do this differently? How could we do this better? I've inspected, I've checked on something, but I really want to talk to you about it. Those conversations are so important. But if I come to you and go, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way, you're not going to learn how to do it. I'm not going to teach you to fish, and you are not going to know how to do something next time. So that's what I've learned from her. So definitely inspect the world around you.
Can I add something, Denise, to that?
Yeah.
When you correct someone, you're solving the problem for them. But when you're coaching them, like Denise was saying, you're teaching them how to, think critically. You're teaching them how to solve it next time. And then as a leader, that's how you're multiplying your impact. Or even if there's some parents on here, as a parent, it's the same thing. We want to solve and fix things, for our children sometimes, and helping coach them through it. That's also very powerful. So good practice on your kids as well.
Yeah, I love that about your kids. I was just talking to Kristen this morning. She's on the call, and I was talking about, hey, I'm doing all this with work and all this, but am I doing this at home with my kid? Or am I over helping him? You got to really take a look at that. So inspect your work around you. Okay, so this is for the time for you to help us with information in the chat. What would you like to practice more checking? What would you like to practice more from your life, from your work, your trust but verify? What do you want to inspect a little bit more? Is it your kids? Is it your family? Is it your budget? Is it is it your stocks? What do you want to inspect a little bit more?
And we love you participating in the chat. And as a coach as well, Denise and I want you to also take ownership of what it is that you are spending your hour learning with us and thinking, introspectively about what you're doing. It helps for you to put the words in the chat, for you to put it out there into the universe as well.
Yeah, it's like once you say it, it's like, oh, shoot, now I got to do it. I'm feeling that coaching vibe right now.
Kim wrote modeling consistency. Sandy said asking for feedback. And Erin, modeling consistency. Justin, taking and thanking people for feedback. Cheryl, empowering direct reports to complete assignments successfully. Trust but verify. Absolutely.
Yeah, Justin, thank you for saying that, because when someone gives you feedback, first of all, they don't have to. They could just be like, oh, that person's not doing well, and move on. But when somebody gives you feedback, they actually care about you to give you that feedback. They actually really, really care about you, because they had to think about how you could be better or how you could grow. And so thanking them is so, so important. I'm glad you said that. It's definitely on the slide. And I think it just makes you so much better. And if you don't thank them, you're probably not going to get feedback again. You're probably done receiving feedback from that person because you didn't receive it well.
True. And we also have Judy saying, I need to learn how to ask if people want help and less offering unsolicited
Yes.
advice. Very, very nice, Judy. I think we've all been guilty of that. And I always tell everyone, take the shoulds out. Check yourself if you're saying should. You should do this. You should do this. And try even changing should to could. That's a nice little quick change.
Yeah. But Judy, I get where you're going though. If you give feedback and someone doesn't want it, maybe it wasn't for you to give. Hey, can I give you feedback? You can start with that. And if they say, oh no, I'm good, too much feedback today. Okay. I'll give you feedback when you're ready.
Very powerful. And then Corey has trying to coach more than correct my family. All right, that's right, Corey. And then Dr. Jordan says, I have to hop on another meeting, but just with this short amount of time, this is packed with gems. Denise, thank you for having me.
Thank
And
you.
then Coach, don't correct. This is from Kayla. It's a big one for me. I had a light bulb moment just now when you mentioned kids. I can definitely do a better job teaching, coaching my kids through problem solving, disputes with siblings, etc., rather than trying to solve it for them, because oftentimes that's quicker. Definitely, we've been there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Awesome. You also just made me think of my cats, but they don't remember everything like children. So
It's more unconditional there, right? And then Rebecca, last one on the chat, says,
Sure.
Denise, you helped me appreciate feedback more during our time at US Cellular. Feedback is because they care. Thank you. That's very true. Excellent, Rebecca.
Okay, well, you guys see, I'm already learning from you. This is so awesome. I love it.
Oh, one last one. Deshonda, taking and thanking for feedback and not taking it personal. That's right, Deshonda. Thank people. Feedback is never failure. Feedback is always something to just help you be the best person and leader you can be.
Yeah, that is something you had to teach me out of. I didn't fail because I got feedback. In my mind, I did, but I didn't fail. I just got feedback. You're right.
Powerful.
So
Thank you.
powerful. Yeah, thanks to Shonda. Okay, the third tip here, we've got be yourself. So I'm going to go back to a story of when I first became a vice president, and I was so excited. I got to meet with the CEO, and he offered me the job, and super, super excited because one, I didn't meet with CEOs very often, and I didn't do those sorts of things. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy to meet you, and I'm very excited to be on your team. He had an officer team. I was on that team. And I'm like, is there anything you need me to do to be more executive or to change how I am so that I fit in your group? And he was like, what? Be yourself. We hired you for you. Be you. And I was blown away. Like, first I wanted to cry because, okay, I can be me. That I can do. I don't have to go adjust what I'm doing. What I've been doing has been working, and I got to be myself. So it's like, I didn't even want to cry talking about it now because it was just such a powerful moment where you get to be yourself because you are what got you there. Be yourself. And so I want you all to remember that as you're going through all these things. We're giving you lots of tips and lots of things. But if it's not authentic to you, don't do it. You know, don't take advice just to take advice. Don't take feedback. Sometimes you might have to throw away feedback. Sometimes I look at feedback and I put it in my hand. I go, that's nice. And I throw it in the garbage. I don't take it because it wasn't feedback that allows me to be myself still. And that's hard to do. So that's my perspective on leadership is stay centered, be yourself. Okay,
Sorry,
go ahead,
Denise.
Sam. No, go ahead.
Just my addition is, and I always say this to everyone, and I say this to my kids. I've been saying it their whole lives, but now I have a 16 and a 20-year-old, so you can kind of guess where they're at now. But I've always said your number one job is to make your boss look good. And I've said it to executives and I say it to kids. And so when we talk about your greatest leadership power is being you and being centered, right? Just simply being you also means you being centered in who you are, which is what Denise has been talking about, right? With like the words matter and taking ownership, right? But your job is to make your boss look good by using your superpowers. So I love that story of Denise being told, well, you were hired for you and your abilities, right? And it's like, okay, so take those and what are your superpowers? What are your values? And use that to help propel yourself forward. So that way you're being authentic to you, both as a parent, as a relationship and your relationships in your life and at work, right? If that's going to transpire throughout your whole life because it's you.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely needed to hear make your boss look good because I wanted to do a lot of correcting of my boss and a lot of fixing. And I thought, well, this isn't helping anybody. You know, maybe a little bit of fixing is okay, a little bit of feedback is okay, but really my job is to make my boss look good. And so I did, that is one I definitely learned from Rosanne. And it wasn't even on my radar. It wasn't, of course, I didn't want to make my boss look bad, but it wasn't on my radar to take it the other way and make my boss look good. So like it was just an eye opener to hear that. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, Carol, this is an excellent question. You want to take this one on here. What are
Sure.
some tips to manage the authenticity paradox of being yourself authentically while integrating your core values into a work culture? How did you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, this is where it does get tricky. Say you don't completely believe in something that you're doing. So how I handled it and how I would suggest somebody handles it is always do say be centered to yourself. Always do stay that. But sometimes you've got to get something done for a company, or you've got to get something done maybe you don't want to do because it is the mission of a company. And so that's usually where I say, I know this is difficult. I'm too having a hard time with this, but it is something we have to do as our mission. And then I usually add something on there that says, this is how I think about it. I don't like it. This is how I'm thinking about it. I don't like this. I don't agree with it. But we do have to do it. We do have to get it done. It is our mission. It is what we have to accomplish. Now, you have to tailor that depending on the message. But I know I've been through many hard times with layoffs and things like that. And I didn't want to do any of those. I mean, I really didn't. And I had to. It was what we had to do to keep something running. So that's how I would describe it. This is hard. I don't want to do this, but I have to. How about you, Rosanne?
I think that's an excellent answer. Cheryl, one thing I always have my clients do is to think about what their non-negotiables are. So for those of you interviewing in here too, I see a lot of people interviewing, thinking about, we're excited to have the company choose us, but why are you choosing the company, right? So what are your values, and what are things that are just so important to you that that's where the line is crossed, or you can mirror those values back in terms of like trust building. Okay, when you say, while integrating my core values into work culture, we do that also by building trust with our team and with others. And so, but that's a really great question, and another possible workshop even just on that alone, because that's so important, right? For us to go to work and feel that we are authentically being ourselves.
Yeah, you can go into the concept of prioritization. You can go into so many concepts with that question. So great question. Okay, so we talked about be yourself, be brave, just be me. Rosanne likes to talk about that one. What is your mantra? What keeps you going? What if it's just be me? That's fine. Go ahead, put just be me. But do you have a mantra that ties to this tip? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Rosanne is enjoying looking at all of them.
I'm loving this chat.
I can't see the chat yet, so I'm waiting to go.
Sometimes it's just one word, everyone. I was just at the orthopedic surgeon with my daughter yesterday, and I told her word is strength, because she has to use her arm. She broke her collarbone. She has to use it, and she's scared to use it. And so I said, Emma, I want you to just constantly just say the word strength, and it can just be one word too. So what's one word that is just hopping into your mind today, this morning, with this, that can be your mantra for even today? Kim says just for today. Erin says don't overthink it. That's a great one too. I love it. One of mine was more dazzle, less frazzle. You guys can take that for the holidays. You're welcome. I feel like I'm so frazzled during the holidays. Judy says sometimes I just have to tell myself I'm enough. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Genuine. There's another one. Genuine. Well, we'll move on, but please keep putting your things there, and we'll say them out loud, so we put them out there into the universe.
Yeah, definitely. If you repeat them, they will happen for sure. Okay, the fourth tip we have for you is communicate with clarity. Now, this one, when I wrote it, I even thought, well, really, that's a good idea, Denise. Yes, we should do that. But what I was thinking more about is sometimes when I'm on stage, like now, or when I'm doing a fun video with my social media friends, or when I'm doing something I've never done before, I get frazzled, like Rosanne was just talking about, and I tend to gloss things over, like, yes, this is all good, and I don't say all the things that I need to say for clarity. And so when I got into that situation, this is where Rosanne helped me, I would say, the most, and probably helped me with a lot of things, but this is the thing that she helped me the most. And it was really to, one, simplify the message, make sure that anybody can understand it, And then make sure that I added a little bit of context to it. And so she's like, if you ever get frustrated, just look at your keyboard because it's usually right in front of you and see the 345, the number, the dollar sign, and the percentage. Add some of that information to it. I would be in an operations meeting and suddenly it'd be like, yes, we're all green. And I would forget all the percentages that we were, we were 99.9%. Probably should have mentioned that because that's way better than just green. Or we had solved so many problems. And how many problems? Okay, we had solved out of 1,000 problems that came our way, we solved all of them, 100%. Okay, great. Well, maybe I should say that. Or how many requests did we get? Oh, we got 2 million requests. That number just means something. And so that clarity of that number, dollar, or percentage, it's right there. It's right in front of me. I can't miss it every single day, and it greatly helped me. So that's why the tip for this one is communicate with clarity. It's a little bit different for each person, but it really helped me to keep going.
I think my actual term is the sexiest numbers on your keyboard are shift 345. That stays in people's minds, and
I modified it.
My interviewers here too, right? Make sure your resume has that on it, right? People like to hear the impact, especially we're talking to leaders here on this call, and that's very important. And once again, I'm going to parallel to your personal lives as well. When you say, oh, I asked my kids what they did and they say nothing, they're not communicating with me. Well, did you ask them, hey, can you tell me 3 things you did today? Hey, how many did you, like, just think about how you can just communicate a little more directly, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think even just that question, my son is not, in school anymore, but he goes to work each and every day, and it's like, oh, you had a hard day. What happened? Okay, well, that doesn't help him. Did you get the 15 new clients you wanted today? Is a little bit easier to ask him, and he'd be like, no, I got 30, Mom. Okay, great. This is great. So I definitely use that for sure. Because we have the question for the chat is, what is the generation that is hardest for you to communicate to? And for me, sometimes it is, my kids and their generation. And then there's new generations coming out. I don't even know what they're called anymore. And sometimes those are hard for me as well. But I always say communicating with clarity will help in all the generations. So in the chat, go ahead and give us some context of what's hard for you to communicate to.
Well, I do have some mantras from Sandy and Prudence that I didn't read. Sandy's okay. Be confident or fake it till you become it, from a TED Talk. Thanks, Sandy. And Prudence says, be true to yourself, but be kind, honest, and yes, being clear is gold. That's even for this one too, for being clear with communication.
Oh, I need that. Where were you? Being clear is gold. That's a better way to name it.
That is that's a really, really good one.
I love it.
And even with the different generations, in texting, my kids think it's funny that their dad puts punctuation and does like a comma and a new paragraph. They always tease him for that, right? But when I try to elicit a response from my daughters, sometimes I'll just send like an emoji or something, which is really hard for me because I want to write a whole long text. But once again, communicating in a way that elicits a response from the person that you're trying to get the best from is sometimes it's best to try it their way. Justin says simplifying the message and getting high level and not too far into the weeds and details. Absolutely, Justin.
Yeah, it depends what happens when you get nervous. If you get too detailed when you get nervous, okay, well then you gotta go up a level. I get too glossy. It's green. It's wonderful. When I'm nervous. So yeah, and I don't know if it's always generations because I did the emoji with my son. He's like, "What the hell, Mom? What is this?" You never know what works for each person. I don't even know if it's always related to that. So, okay, well, I'm going to keep moving along here. We've got number 5, which is invest in yourself, which is what you're all doing here today. You're all investing yourself. You're giving yourself an hour of time to learn something new. Hopefully you'll take something away that you learned, but it could be different things. Sometimes you're a little too technical and you have to shift to be more strategic, invest in the strategy side. Sometimes it's the reverse. All that AI stuff is out there. Maybe you need to learn to be more technical, that make sure when you show up in an interview, you can talk about that. The other things for investing in yourself is networking. This is one way to network. These are a bunch of your friends. Go reach out to somebody that maybe you haven't talked to in a while. Go ahead and connect with somebody. Networking is a great way to invest in yourself. I went to lunch with Judy yesterday, had a great conversation, and it was a great way for us to network with each other. And then keep learning. It could be a certification. It could be your PMP certification. It could be keeping it up to date. But one of the things I do want to talk about is having a coach. There is a time when a coach is often the best way to do that. And coaches will just give you a way different perspective than maybe your company has or that you were thinking about it. And getting a coach, and that's what I'm doing these days, is being a coach for people. And it really has helped me in my life. And so I want to have that out there in the world for you as well.
And I would just like to add that, the reason why I call a lot of things Operation U is because, well, I used to work with the military a lot. So saying Operation anything is very comfortable to me. But leaders forget to fill their own tank, right? And we all hear, you can't pour into others from empty. Having a coach or investing in yourself in the time for you is so imperative for you on so many levels. We don't have enough hours to talk about it, right? Having a coach where you have a dedicated time for you to show up for you and someone to help hold you accountable for some goals that you want to attain, whether that's personally or professionally. I mean, the return on investment right there is, tenfold, right there. And I know Denise has stories for days about it. I have stories for days, but really we want to know what is it for you? How are you investing in you? And that could even just be you saying, hey, I'm taking a rest. That's a huge deal for me.
Yeah, and it's okay to do that. When you said how are you filling your cup, I was thinking about the airplane and you put your mask on first before you help the others. You really have to take that minute to care for yourself. Burnout is real. So yeah, in the chat, please do tell us. Roseanne's going to help go through that for us.
Cheryl here that says, beyond credentials, what are the critical soft factors or red flags one should be looking for in a coach to ensure a successful high impact partnership? I can answer that question, Denise. Do you want me to answer?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Cheryl, one thing is you could absolutely check anyone's recommendations, and they should really match up with the coach, how you feel. Every coach should have a complimentary discovery call, and on that call, the coach is feeling if you're going to be a good fit, and you're also, interviewing them to see if you think they're going to be a good fit. And let's say that you got a great feeling and you were like, oh my gosh, this person's going to be amazing. You can absolutely, like if someone said to me or someone said to Denise, hey, I want a referral, I want to talk to like a couple people that you've coached, right? Or you can go on their LinkedIn and see their LinkedIn recommendations. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of, vet that out. And I hope that answers your question. And then Erin says, it was really hard for me to realize I was worth the investment in me. Absolutely, Erin, you are absolutely worth it, right? And then Corey says, resting without guilt is a skill you have to practice. Corey, excuse me, my kids say that I've shamed them for taking naps. So I'm trying. It's my mom and my growing up, my family, if you were resting, they're like, oh, we've got 15 things to do. And so I really, that was feedback my kids have given to me, right? And so taking a nap or taking a rest, I feel guilty for it too. I really feel you on that one, Corey. Thanks, Cheryl. Cheryl says, yes, it did. Thanks, Roseanne. And then Michaela, for several years, I've been investing a lot in my physical, mental, emotional well-being, and it will be a lifelong investment. Absolutely. And as leaders, we carry a large mental load coming from many different directions, and investing in those three allows me to bring a more authentic version of myself. And it also helps with a better work-life balance, which is always a hard task to strike that right balance. Denise, what do you think about that one?
Oh, I love that. So just even mentioning getting, working out, like that is something that I had to insert back into my life. I was in a car accident over a year ago and just hadn't really been working out because I couldn't. It was just in too much pain. And so just even getting the workout going, now I have a trainer, so I'm super excited about that. And I'm training, I'm just trying to get able to, walk and not hurt. And so thank you for that reminder, because I totally forgot about that one when it comes to investing in yourself. I love all of this. I think you got the idea. We want you to invest in yourself. Spending this time today with us is investing in yourself for sure. Awesome.
Thank you, Mike. And thanks for saying goodbye, Mike. These glasses are fake. I need a new prescription at this point. I'm like looking down and looking up, but thank you so much. And go ahead, Denise.
No, that's okay. I know he's Mike because I know him. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate that. You're giving us feedback. We all need it, right? It's all good. So good. Okay. Well, I'm going to move on to something fun here. And this is where I'm learning. So please help me grow. We are going through a session here where we are going to go through a problem statement. I always love a problem statement because I'm a technical person. And so help me through this problem. We're going to work on this together. So Rosanne and I are going to go through it. And then we want your feedback as well as we're going through it. So this is the problem statement. We've got the senior manager from technology services company. They're getting some declining engagement and they miss some deadlines. Everybody who is an individual is hitting their deadlines and doing well, but as a team, they are not. They are slipping. So how would you solve this? It sounds wonderful. Everybody separately is making their goals, but as a team, if you're not achieving the project or not achieving the goal, and you're missing deadlines or you're missing things, that's not really achieving it. So how would you solve this? Put your ideas in the chat. Rosanne and I are going to go through the tips and figure out how to solve this as well. But I want to take a second here for you to start doing that.
We have a couple team building activity, and the team is not working together. So we see a couple team buildings.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You got it.
Check for understanding of results. Map out where the problem areas are occurring.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you guys figured it out. Good job. I love it. This is great. This is great.
Best class ever. Good job, guys.
I know.
Building and create opportunities for connection.
Right. Well, I would say the first question is it team building? Is that the problem? Or were the goals not right? There's lots of areas to look at. So I would say going into this, if I had this problem, first thing I would do is just acknowledge the problem. The first thing I would do, just speak honestly, like, hey, team, because you think about it, you handed out these goals to each of your people on the team and they all achieved it. They're not going to feel so good when they hear they actually didn't achieve it as a team. They'd be like, wait, what? You told me to do all this and now I'm not doing it. So I would say the first thing you have to do is be brave and be honest with your team. Like, hey, I probably messed up in giving you these goals. I needed to make it a little bit tighter as a team. As a leader, you need to say something and be brave right away when you see something like this. Because when I look at this, I think of the people, but I have to look in the mirror when I think about this one. Rosanne, anything you want to add on that one? Or other things you would do here? I'll go to number 2 next.
I love what everyone's saying right here about communication is key. And, communicating on a leadership level, that is being brave, right? It is just not easy. It's not easy to ask the right questions. It's not easy to, like Denise was saying, looking in the mirror, being like, hey, it might be me, right? And so these are all very important things to be thinking about, whether we're looking at this case study or something that's kind of on your mind about what you're dealing with right now.
Yeah. And I think that, like, looking in the mirror, maybe there's lots of things that could be going on there. Is something going on with the company or something going with you? You have to kind of always look at both. That's why I say look in the mirror. And then you have to do some inspection. That's sometimes the harder part as a leader, to do some inspection and say, okay, great, everybody's hitting the goals, but are these really the processes that we need? Are these really the right things that need to happen? Are we getting the right results? Are we trusting what we came up with as a team for our goals? And so that one is where you really have to do a double click on what they're doing and go, great, they got a green, but what does green mean? And is green the right color we're going for, or did we need to raise the bar? So I would say, looking at that lead with integrity, you have to make sure that the goals really are being met that, which is hard to do as well. Here you go. I gave them these goals. You hit them. You're great. Wait, you're not so great. That's a very hard message to give. Very delicate. And then I would also say, as we're looking at this leader, just because we're coaches, that being yourself and communicating with clarity. But I would think the most important one with this situation is really developing this leader, because if they weren't hitting the goals, a lot of this is going to fall on the team and the leader. And the leader needs to invest in themselves, understand either more about what's going on with the company and what they needed to deliver, go speak with their peers, understand what's going on across the company. They really need to invest some time in themselves. And they may even just need a coach to look at this. Say this leader of this team goes through this and says, I can't find anything. We're all doing the right things. They may need some help. They need to go talk to their boss, go get a coach to help them, find a mentor.
Kim also had something added here too. Right, open, honest communication, two-way, like find out what happened. Team building is secondary to make sure the team is functioning well together. And it's not necessarily a fun, let's go bowling. She's talking trust, strategic type of team building. Absolutely.
Good. Yeah. I don't know if it's time to party. You've just failed the project. Let's go bowling, right? Yeah, that's a hard message to give. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is our use case for today. Rosanne, anything else you want to add in this one? I think this is a great one because I've had this happen to me. The collective output is something you have to look at, and it's something you always have to make sure you're delivering. Okay. Well, we're going to keep moving on. Okay. So these were the bright takeaways. These are the answers, if you will, to what we just talked about, just in a little bit more detail. I always like to be action oriented. So, some of the things that behind the scenes you do is really name that problem, audit the team, show your authenticity, and then really go back and set clear expectations, and then continue coaching and leading your team. Hey, guess what? When they did all these things, the team improved by 18% and retention was better and they hit their goals for their business. So, we could see the future in this one because it is a use case and we made it up. And it definitely was bright. So I love this. Okay. So now that is the end of our class, and you came here today because you needed some information. You wanted to grow, you wanted to be successful. And so I'm proud that Rosanne and I were able to do that for you today. I think I've learned from you, you learned from us, but this is something that I'm doing ongoing now. And I want to let you know about some of the things that I offer. Like Rosanne talked about, I do that discovery call. Please set up a discovery call with me if you haven't. It is complimentary. You can meet with me. We can see if we're a fit for me to be your coach. We can see if maybe you need a different coach. We can figure that out. But I would love to be your coach. And so I have a website. It's called BrightSide Success. And you can go out there, take a look at all of my offers. I have a QR code. You can also snap that rather quickly. But I do want to tell you about two of the offers I have today. One of them is a 1-month offer, and that's where I'm on retainer for you, essentially. And it would be 4 meetings for sure. We can spread them out or define them however you need to be successful or whatever fits your schedule. And then if you want to take that to the next level, I do offer a 3-month coaching experience. Now, I will, if you decide, hey, I'm in the 3 months and I want to take this to the 3 months, I will apply the dollars you've spent already into that session so that you don't have to worry about buying things twice. But I do want to let you know that my services are available and I am here to help you solve all of your problems and grow. And so I'm super excited to share this with you and let you know about my BrightSide Success.
I put the link in there and Kim wrote Rosanne beat me to it. I was just putting the link also to make it easy in the chat. But I just wanted to tell everyone, don't wait for that perfect moment, right? I just said, take action now, right? Take the next step while your energy is fresh. And the discovery call is just the easiest way to explore what is possible for you, right? Give the gift to yourself of having people on your side, on your success team, right? I think we're all at a point too, especially as leaders with the holidays coming up. And have you ever been like, oh, I just don't know what to give to so-and-so? they have everything, or or my mom, I can never beat my mom. She orders whatever on Amazon. I just can never get anything. So we just do experiences now with my mom. And that's the thing too, is just having an experience for yourself, for you to have someone like Denise at the level that Denise has been. She's been there and done that and can help you just truly up level your success. So like, why not just do that discovery call for you? Kim says, I will personally recommend her. Thanks, Kim, right? I know Denise gets shy talking about herself, so I will talk her up. I literally can't say enough about her integrity too and professionalism. And I know that she would be there for you if you emailed her and said, Denise, there was a 911 thing at work today. I need to help. She wouldn't say, well, book a call. I'll talk to you next week. Like, you would literally have someone like that right there for you to help you out. And so, anyway, I just can't say enough about it myself as well. Denise worked miracles on my resume in 5 minutes of looking at it after outplacement revisited my resume 3 times. I'm starting to get interviews now because of her advice. She is amazing. Thank you. And yeah, a lot of you guys did say you have interviews on here too. And that's a coach can help you with that too.
Yeah, sometimes just practicing the words so you don't practice on the interview is so much better. I know I need to do that too. I practice for interviews as well. Yeah. I think that, thank you, Rosanne, for the kind words. This is, of all the things that I'm working on, growing on, is providing that service for folks. That's the new thing for me. I'm used to working for a corporation. So thank you all for helping me through this slide, because it does, like she said, make me uncomfortable. I don't know why. I will figure out why when I achieve it, I'm sure. But each day I'm learning how to do this better and better. So I do thank you all. But before you go, there's one last thing, is that we've got upcoming events. And so we've got some new things coming our way for December and into next year. These are workshops. I offer these free. This is for you to get a sense of how I lead and how I coach. And then they're available to you after the class as well. But we're going to do the bright side and dark side of AI. I love AI. I think it's great, but there are some things we want you to be aware of, and we want to teach people that. Earnings calls and finances, how to understand all that. I'm so obsessed with that. And so as a leader, you do have to know how to talk about these things, how to talk about the shift 3, 4, 5, like Rosanne talked about, and those numbers and financials are very important. A couple other ones out on the list too. If there's something you want me to do too, let me know, drop me a line, put it in the chat. I would be happy to do another workshop. I think workshops are also great opportunities for you to flex your leadership skills, get on stage, practice, grow. And so I do offer it to anybody that wants to do a presentation with me. I do offer it to you. It's a little bit of setup. It's a little bit of work. You got to prepare. You can't just show up. But it is something that you do feel like, oh, I achieved something after I did this. This is pretty cool. So these are the upcoming events they have. And that's really all that I have for you today. Thank you so much. If there's any questions you have for us or things that you want to know about, Rosanne and I are here.